About 2 years ago, I made a video about using AI to manage my ADHD, which basically consisted of me asking ChatGPT for solutions to my problems.
I have ADHD. I would like your help, please. You are my last hope.
That I knew going into it I wasn't going to come up with anything groundbreaking, and I certainly didn't.
Okay, here we go with the lists. Oh my god, it's so much. Don't you know I have ADHD?
But that was 2 years ago, and not only has AI become a lot more sophisticated, so have I. There's actually a lot that AI can do to support your ADHD deficits, but it isn't always obvious and straightforward, like when I asked ChatGPT to fix my ADHD 2 years ago.
The reverse countdown technique involves setting a timer for the total amount of time you have for a task, and then counting down the time backwards in your head. For example, if you have 30 minutes to complete a task, you would set a timer for 30 minutes and then count down from 30 to 0 in your head, focusing on the task at hand.
So today I'm going to show you some real simple ways in which you can use AI to support your ADHD life. Now, before we dive into this, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about using AI, and I understand where it comes from. I also believe in people using all of the resources they have to support themselves, especially in areas where there's potential to level the playing field. And I would go as far as to say that you can look at a lot of AI tools as ADHD accessibility tools. And in the same way I will push people to use accommodations, I will push people to use AI tools if it helps you be you unabated. We're not going to be looking at AI as a way for you to avoid doing the work. Just the opposite, in fact. We're going to look at AI as a way to make you more efficient and effective according to your own wants and needs. So, how can you use AI to help your ADHD? I'm going to show you 7 different ways, and make sure you watch till the end because I'm going to show you how you can use AI to help with motivation. We're going to kick things off by looking at executive functioning support, starting with planning. Let's first dissect some of the issues behind planning with ADHD. The future feels abstract and things don't feel real until they're right in front of us. Energy without immediate return, in other words, no short-term gratification. Planning is boring. Prioritizing things requires understanding where all your tasks live relative to each other, which is very overwhelming. Just imagine a super long to-do list or a full calendar. So say we wanted to create a plan for the month. Before AI, this is highly unlikely. How unlikely? Well, you tell me. How many times have you planned for your month in the last lifetime? Not very many times, right? For all the reasons we just listed, and in addition, it's hard to know where to even start. So speaking of starting, let's start there, at the start.
Nice. All right, okay.
Hello, Chad. I named my ChatGPT Chad. Chad, help me plan for the month. Okay, Jesus, this already feels overwhelming. So we're gonna ask Chad nicely. 1 question at a time, please. Now it will ask you a series of questions to help determine your goals, events, preferences, and for anything you don't want to answer, just type skip. Once you have your AI loaded up, just ask it to create a schedule for you based on all of those things, and if you need to change due dates on anything, go ahead and do that now. Now what's really nice about this is we're not just looking at a bunch of due dates as if we were looking at a calendar. A calendar shows you when everything is due, but it does not do a good job of showing you when you need to work on things because it's hard to get a sense of where all of the tasks exist relative to all the other things you have going on. The mental load required to figure out what you should be doing when relative to everything else is immense, but here all of that work is already figured out for you. Put it in executive functioning terms, this is a huge load on our working memory, which us ADHDers usually already have a deficit in. But with this, we don't need to worry about all of the tasks that are going on in our lives, only the things that we need to be doing in a specific day, which has been predetermined. We can take it a step even further by asking it to assign a percentage per event per task per day. Just kidding. For each of these blocks, please put the percent completion per project I'm targeting for each. For example, a coaching call is one and done, so the percent complete would be 100% for that time block. But the YouTube script will need to be completed in installments, so put the percent complete I'm targeting for each time block. Example, 30% complete. Crystal clear. You know, that's another nice thing about AI, is I don't have to make sense completely. To finish things off, we can ask AI to send us reminders per time block to keep us on track. Are you going to completely adhere to this schedule? No, but it does give you a nice, clean, general structure to follow, and that is a big step in the right direction. Now this looks fantastic, but as we try to tackle it, we're going to encounter two big problem areas. The first one is initiating each of these tasks. Task initiation is a big challenge for us ADHDers generally, and in the same breath, switching from task to task. Ooh, he's got a little raspberry. One of the main problems with task initiation is there are usually a lot of invisible obstacles in the way that make it harder to get started. To get us to the starting line, and then past it, we need to remove as many of these obstacles as we can. One of the easiest ways to do that is simply by identifying what the first 3 steps are. And that process in itself is rife with obstacles, but guess what? That's a problem for Chad. Chad, please tell me the first 3 steps to get started on each one of these tasks. Now this tackles one of our biggest problems. However, there is one more problem stuck in the shoe of this problem, and that's switching from task to task, which also happens to be one of the biggest black holes that we face in our daily lives. But, Chad, please help me transition from one task to the next. Now, in a very short amount of time, we've created a daily plan for our entire month and skirted around a ton of executive functioning pitfalls that we almost certainly would have fallen into if it wasn't for old Chad here. Oh, look at that. I actually have a meeting I need to attend. Excuse me, I'll be right back.
Huh?
That meeting went really well. We talked about actually there was something I was supposed to do. What was it? You know what? I took notes. Anyway, this was me. This might be you too, but it doesn't have to be with granola. So what is granola, you ask? Well, besides a delicious snack consisting of oats, seeds, and sometimes nuts, it is a fantastic AI note-taking tool. And here's how it works. When you download Granola on your computer, it automatically senses when a meeting starts. You can then use it to take your own notes, and it automatically transcribes your meeting for you. When your meeting's over, you can click this little Enhance Notes button here, and it will combine the notes that you took with the key points from your transcription to give you everything you need all in one place, and it's pretty great. What I really love about this for us, is that for me to be most present in a meeting, I need to be focusing on what's being said. And if I try to focus on writing down everything so I can refer to it later, I'll lose my ability to focus on what's happening in the now. How I like to take notes is by jotting things down that pop into my head as people are talking. Sometimes something someone else will say will spark a thought or question or idea, so I can write that down and then keep listening and come back to it when needed. Granola combines all of this seamlessly and not only helps me focus, but also allows me to take better notes that combine what's actually being discussed with the additional thought that a discussion generates. It's a tool that once you start using, you'll never look back. You can start using Granola totally free. They have a substantial try before you buy model that allows you to thoroughly test drive the product before purchasing. If you do a lot of meetings, it's a no-brainer. Okay, let's keep moving. Big projects have a way of absolutely destroying ADHDers, from the crushing overwhelm to the helplessness around the idea of chipping away at something little by little. All of these obstacles, my light just went out, there are always a sizable number of obstructions on the path to completion, many of which feel insurmountable. Theoretically, we understand how we should and frankly need to tackle big projects, chunking it out into smaller pieces and spreading it out over time, but actually doing that has always been a challenge, right? Well, that's where AI can take a huge executive functioning load off of our plates with a few simple prompts. This is my project. Explain the project. Upload any files if applicable. Now, please help me break it down into chunks. Now, please help me spread these chunks. Wow, spread these chunks. Now, please help me spread these chunks over a timeline that allows me to finish everything by deadline. And boom. Now let's move on to a fun one, motivation. We'll start with a scenario. Imagine you're a student and right now you're having a hard time finding the motivation to work on a project that you really don't care about for a class that you really have no interest in. And to make things worse, you also really want to play Xbox. A seemingly impossible task for an ADHDer. Let's also assume that you want to become a video game designer. So we're not motivated to do the thing that we need to do, and we are motivated to do the thing that we shouldn't do, as is usually the case. We also have an overarching goal, which is to become a video game designer, which is our whole reason for subjecting ourselves to this thing that we don't want to do, which is our homework, because if we get good grades, we can get one step closer to achieving our dream. So here's our prompt.
I'm in school and need to work on a paper for a class that I really don't care about and don't have the motivation for. I also want to play Xbox and really shouldn't. I need to get good grades because I want to become a video game designer. Tying in the goal. Please demotivate me to play Xbox and motivate me to do my schoolwork.
Now this is going to reframe the situation for us and bring the different possible outcomes to the foreground depending on which track that we take, which is something we often don't see in the moment and why we usually sorely regret decisions that we made in hindsight. Give me these steps one by one, show them to me one at a time. This allows us to narrow in the focus and not get distracted or overwhelmed by everything else. It's just us and the next step. Want to add a little more spice? After each step, progress a story and then have it read it aloud.
Got it. Let's make this a quest. You're the hero, and each step you complete pushes the story forward. Step 1, 60 seconds. Power down your Xbox, unplug it, and stash the controller plus power cord in another room, closet, backpack, under a bed. Story progression. You've just sealed away the distraction portal. The glow of the console fades and the pull of its siren song weakens. The path to the next quest objective appears in front of you. Reply done when the portal is sealed.
Okay, folks, well, that'll do it for today. I hope this is... I almost forgot, I'm going to be hosting a free webinar on these dates, and I would love for you to come join me. I'm going to show you how to map your ADHD/executive functioning profile to make your workday feel lighter, clearer, and actually doable, and I hope to see you there. At least giving you a little bit of insight in how you can... let's try that again. I hope this is at least giving you a little bit of insight in how you can use ADHD. Woo! I hope this is at least giving you a little bit of insight as to how I hope this is at least giving you a little bit of insight as to how you can use AI to support some weaker areas of executive functioning. There are tons of applications for this, and this is really just scratching the surface. If you've used AI to support your ADHD or executive functioning in any clever, creative ways, I'd love to hear about what you've done in the comments. Please let us know. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. Please subscribe if you like my content. You hit that little bell if you want to get notified when I come out with a new video. Leave a like if you're feeling gracious. And I will see you next one.